How to solve science equations, manipulating formulas. So today I'm going to try and show you an easy way to manipulate a simple equation that's going to come up a lot in science. So often when you start physics, you take a look at the formula sheet and you can start feeling really frustrated, like you don't know what's going on. So hopefully today I'm going to teach you how to solve and manipulate these equations so that your frustrations can go away. So first thing to note is we can kind of divide the formula sheet into two sections. The section above the blue line is going to be uniform motion. That means there's no acceleration. So that means constant velocity or speed. Below the blue line is going to be our non-uniform motion, and that means we're going to have some form of acceleration involved in these formulas. Now, all the formulas with a star after this lesson, you're going to be able to rearrange and solve for. All right, so let's start with an example just using numbers. So I think we can all agree that 6 is equal to 12 divided by 2. But can we write this equation in different ways to show maybe what 2 is equal to? So anytime I'm manipulating a formula, as long as I do the same thing to both sides of the equation, I'm not breaking any rules. So for this one, I'm going to multiply both sides of the equation by 2. When I multiply 12 divided by 2, the 2's are going to cancel out. So I'm left with a new equation that is solved for 12. So we can all agree 2 times 6 is equal to 12. It also doesn't matter what order we write the equation in. So if you prefer, you could write 12 is equal to 2 times 6, or you could even write 12 is equal to 6 times 2. Now let's see if we can solve this one more time. So for this one, if I want to get 2 by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 6. So 2 times 6 divided by 6, the 6's cancel out, and I'm left with 2 is equal to 12 divided by 6. So that's 3 different ways that we could rearrange this formula. Now, often students start getting confused when the formulas don't contain numbers. They just contain variables. But this is the exact same thing as when we were doing it with numbers. So say I wanted to rearrange this formula. First thing I could do is multiply both sides by t. So that's going to remove the t from the right side of the equation, and I'm left with a new equation that is now solved for d. So d equals v times t. We can write this in any order we want. You could write tv equals d. I prefer vt equals d, and I will often rearrange it so the variable that it's solved for is on the left side of the equation. So d equals v multiplied by t. Notice there's no multiplication symbol between the two letters. We don't need that. The multiplication is implied whenever the letters are right beside each other. Okay, so there's one way of rearranging this formula. Now, often you are going to be asked to solve for distance when given speed and time. But what if they ask you to solve for time? How are you going to rearrange this formula? Well, you might have noticed I did this for you using numbers. So my challenge to you is to go back and try and rearrange this formula and solve it for t. It's also a good idea to go back and look at all the starred formulas on your data sheet and just pick a random variable and rearrange and solve for them. If you can do that, you're going to do just fine in physics. Hopefully this was helpful. Thanks for watching.